Let me tell you about Tasha. Tasha had always been close to her cousins, Aaliyah and Kiana. Growing up, they did everything together family vacations, movie nights, and even sleepovers where they'd stay up until sunrise talking about boys and dreams for the future. But things started to change when Tasha decided to focus on herself. After a bad breakup and a health scare, she started going to therapy, journaling, and cutting out toxic habits. Slowly, Tasha began to feel like she was becoming the woman she always wanted to be. But not everyone saw it that way. At family gatherings, Aaliyah and Kiana started treating her differently. They'd stop talking when she walked in the room, throw subtle jabs like, "Oh, Miss Perfect is here," or "Tasha probably thinks we're too messy to hang with her now." At first, Tasha ignored it, hoping things would blow over. But then came the group chat silence. No invites to their get togethers, no responses to her messages. She even overheard them at a family barbecue whispering, "She thinks she's better than us just because she's in therapy." It hurt more than Tasha wanted to admit, and she started questioning herself. Was she wrong for trying to grow? Why did it feel like being a better version of herself meant losing the people she loved most? Tasha couldn't shake the feeling that something deeper was going on. Sitting in her room one night, she replayed the conversations in her head. She thought about the family dynamic, the way they'd always bonded over gossip and shared complaints about their lives. It dawned on her, by choosing to heal, she disrupted the status quo. Her cousins weren't mad at her, they were mad at what her growth represented. Digging deeper, Tasha realized this wasn't a new pattern in her family. Anytime someone tried to improve themselves, they were labeled a traitor or too good. Her aunt, who'd gone to college and moved away, was still the subject of jokes at family dinners. Her cousin, who stopped drinking, was called boring and no fun. It was a toxic cycle that had been passed down for generations. It wasn't about Tasha. It was about a fear of change and a need to keep everyone on the same level to avoid discomfort. Tasha realized that this mindset wasn't hers to carry, but breaking free from it wouldn't be easy. Tasha was stuck between wanting to fix things and knowing she couldn't control her cousin's reactions. She hated the tension, but didn't want to betray herself by going back to old habits just to fit in. Every family event became a minefield. Should she say something? Should she let it go? Her therapist had once told her, setting boundaries doesn't mean people will like them, it just means you're choosing yourself. But that was easier said than done. One day, after a particularly awkward family dinner where her cousins barely acknowledged her, Tasha sat in her car and cried. She wanted things to go back to how they used to be, but she knew she couldn't shrink herself to make others comfortable. The question was, how could she stand up for herself without losing her family completely? The breaking point came at the next family barbecue. Tasha overheard Aaliyah and Kiana whispering, "She acts like she's too good for us now," followed by laughter. Tasha's chest tightened, but instead of walking away, she decided to confront them. She walked over and said, "Can we talk?" The cousins looked surprised, but followed her to a quieter spot. "I've noticed the way y'all have been treating me lately," Tasha began, "and I just want to understand why." Aaliyah rolled her eyes and said, "We're just joking. You're being sensitive." Kiana added, "You don't even act like yourself anymore." Tasha felt a lump in her throat but pushed through. "I know I've changed, but it's not because I think I'm better than you. I'm just trying to be better for me. If I've done something to hurt y'all, tell me. But this, the whispers, the jokes, it hurts." Her cousins were quiet. Finally, Aaliyah muttered, "I guess it's just weird seeing you change so much." Kiana, however, crossed her arms and said, "Well, don't expect us to change too." Tasha left the conversation feeling a mix of relief and sadness. She'd spoken her truth, but it was clear that not everyone was ready to hear it. In the weeks that followed, Tasha noticed a shift. Aaliyah started texting her again, and they even had a heart to heart over coffee. Aaliyah admitted she'd been jealous and felt left behind by Tasha's growth. They began rebuilding their bond, this time with more honesty and respect. Kiana, however, doubled down on her negativity. At the next family gathering, she made another snide comment, and Tasha decided to walk away instead of engaging. She realized she didn't have to force relationships with people who didn't respect her boundaries. For the first time, Tasha felt at peace with the idea that not everyone would come along on her healing journey. She focused on nurturing the connections that uplifted her and let go of the ones that drained her. Breaking the chain wasn't just about stopping the negativity, it was about making room for something better. How would you address this situation if you were in their shoes? What steps would you take to face the challenge head on? Are you ready to start breaking generational chains in your own life? Find out by playing Generational Chain Breakers, the groundbreaking card game by LV Davis. Dive into real life scenarios and discover how to overcome the patterns holding us back. Plus, enjoy the Generational Chain Breakers soundtrack, now streaming on Spotify and all major platforms. Start your journey today because breaking chains begins with you.
Oh, we drifted so far apart.